Beethoven's Opus 18 No. 1 Quartet is one of the composer's most treasured works. Published in 1801, along with the 5 other quartets which comprise the Opus 18 set, this is actually the second string quartet that Beethoven composed. As one of Beethoven's very earliest quartets, it is stylistically stuck between the earlier classical quartet writing of previous masters such as Haydn and Mozart, and Beethoven's own unique voice, which would continue to evolve greatly after these pieces were composed. Interestingly, Haydn in fact composed some of his most celebrated string quartets during a period of just a couple of years before Beethoven wrote the Opus 18 set. Beethoven was also briefly a pupil of Haydn prior to writing these quartets, soon after his relocation to Vienna. Both of these factors may have had a distinct influence on the sound of Opus 18 No. 1. It is easy to find the influence of Haydn in the jovial, witty character of the first movement. The finale is directly modeled off of an earlier work by Beethoven, his string trio Opus 9, No. 3. Also interesting is the story regarding the second movement, which is a slow, pained adagio with a brooding and truly sad melody. According to Beethoven's friend, Karl Amenda, this movement was inspired by the death scene of Romeo and Juliet. There is historical evidence to suggest that this was in fact what Beethoven had in mind during the composition of this incredible movement. The first movement begins with an incredibly jovial, bouncy motif. In starting the piece this way, Beethoven observes a long-standing tradition of Viennese composition, which is to utilize short motifs to be developed and evolved throughout the work. Here we can see Beethoven firmly planted still in the influence of Haydn and Mozart. The movement is overall light and danceable, but has real moments of uncertainty and sadness, as if to suggest what may come next. The second movement has a truly uncanny atmosphere. Feeling totally foreign to the gaiety of the first movement, it feels suspenseful, slow, and in pain. The slow, dirge-like tempo causes the listener to really feel each one of the many tense harmonic movements in this movement. Especially beautiful is the middle of the movement, in which the cello takes the theme. The long, aching melody is perfectly suited to the instrument. The third movement is really fantastic. It features an upbeat scherzo structure and plenty of Beethoven's characteristic offbeat accents, which are incredibly prominent even at this early stage of his composition. These lend such an incredible amount of energy and interest to this movement. As the accompanying voices weave around each other, the harmonic movement that is felt is incredibly satisfying. The final movement is again defined by a motif, and again, Beethoven can be heard clearly taking direct influence from Mozart, one of his quartet forefathers.